river. And this is obviously the narrowest the peninsula has ever been. I'm just looking south now from post 26, looking towards the sea. High tide was some time ago, but it's still quite rough. Here's the sea. This is the narrowest it's ever been, Pete, isn't it? By far. I doubt we'll ever come down here in a bus again.
At Spurn Point, actually stranded. The main road that links the peninsula to the mainland has been virtually washed away. RNLI crews are now using 4x4s to drive along the beach until a new road is put together. Kevin Keane has been down to the spit.
It's hard to believe that these calm seas raged so furiously at the weekend that they destroyed a vital road link. But on Saturday night, that's exactly what happened. Today, those people living on Spurn have been surveying the damage.
If you actually look here, you can see there's a big bite taken out just here. That was done with the storm. The waves came up, washed over the road, and as they went back, they take everything with it, including the road. You can see this area's here. There's a lot of sand. We're not quite sure what's underneath it.
It was the same high tide which swept away 3 people from Scarborough seafront. These waves had been battering the whole of the east coast.
You can see the old road here which ran along Spurn Point, and this headland before the weekend would have stretched right out to this pile of rocks. And you can see this concrete part of the sea defences here. Well, again, before the weekend that would have been 15 feet in the air.
The road here at Spurn is now made using these concrete tiles. It means that when it is washed away, it can be repaired quite easily.
That can be lifted as a mat, as a tiling system, and laid directly onto the sand, needing no base. Previous roads have been tarmac systems, which again, the tide gets under the edge and turns it back.
Surveyors from East Riding Council are now replotting the shifting coastline here. For communities that live on Spurn, they're having to wait at least another month for their road link to the mainland to be restored.
Some incredible pictures there from Spurn Point. Paul, I mean, why are we having such high tides? And I mean, eventually, will Spurn Point just disappear?
Well, certainly the main tide is caused by the gravitational pull of the sun and the moon, and we have 2 types of tide. A spring tide, which is the biggest, that means both add together, and a neap tide, which means both cancel each other out. But there are 2 other things. We can also get a storm surge caused by low pressures and strong north or northwesterly winds. Now, that's what's happened this weekend. We'd not only had the big spring tide, but also the strong surge with northwesterlies. And it is bad news for Spurn Point because we expect sea levels to rise by about a ½ metre this century, and with stronger winds and sort of bigger low pressures, eventually all scientists agree that Spurn Point will eventually be broken through altogether. So the clock's ticking.
Certainly is. Paul, thanks very much indeed, and he'll be back, of course, with the usual forecast in just a moment. Now, Look North can reveal tonight that Hull and the East Riding public, amid fears that it could leave people stranded, there's Spurn Point. Also tonight, we're at a Lincolnshire school asking what young people in our region are talking about. Nearly here, but measures to close off one of the area's most popular visitor attractions are being put in place. Spurn Point is to be closed off to cars during stormy weather, that the high tides could turn it into an island. A lockable barrier is now being installed, as our chief news correspondent Paul Murphy reports.
Relaying the roadway to Spurn Point is becoming a regular job. This year it was wiped out by a powerful spring tide, and from the air its vulnerability is clear. This thin peninsula is getting thinner. The lifeboat men who live at the tip of Spurn have growing concerns for the safety of visitors.
If the public were trying to come down the road in a vehicle and on a big tide, there's a possibility of a fatality, basically.
During stormy conditions, all cars will be stopped from entering Spurn and walkers warned to be on their guard.
It's the terrific strength of the tide and the wind here that make this area so vulnerable. But what's surprising everyone is just how quickly this is happening. There could be a new island in the middle of the Humber within a couple of years.
The Westerns have been coming here for 30 years, fascinated by the rapidly changing landscape.
The peninsula's getting narrower and narrower each year, and it's going to get breached, and the inevitable will happen.
It's amazing that it is